we got Oklahoma, and we got Alabama. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. The storyline to know in this game, Dalton, Alabama is trying to do the same exact thing to Oklahoma that the Sooners did to them last year. What do I mean by that? Last year, Alabama lost on the road to Oklahoma 24-3. That was Alabama's third loss of the year and pretty much knocked out the Crimson Tide from college football playoff contention. They could do the same thing to Oklahoma this weekend because Oklahoma is 7-2 on the year and most likely cannot afford another loss if they want to make the college football playoff. Meanwhile, for the Crimson Tide, this is a big game for them too, outside of just getting revenge on Oklahoma, because right now they're 8-1 on the year, and they're trying to take one step closer to securing a spot in the SEC title game because Alabama's one loss this year was out of conference to Florida State.
And, of course, Alabama has to finish their season to do that with wins over A, Oklahoma, and B, Auburn, who right now isn't starting Jackson Arnold, but he was still the main character in this upset last year that really, like you mentioned, was the reason that Alabama didn't make the playoff, was this loss to Oklahoma. At 10-2, they would have gotten an at-large bid in there, probably over SMU, as it turned out, being the last team in there. So I think for this game, and not just the revenge factor, but it's a huge game for the SEC standings. A&M and Alabama still the only two teams undefeated in the SEC. Both have inside tracks, favorable schedules going down the line, but tough teams, two really good defenses they have to play starting this week with Brent Venables and this Oklahoma outfit.
Absolutely. So, Dalton, you have the Oklahoma offense against Alabama's defense. What should we know on that side of the ball?
Oh, we're back to our old friend, Max. It's our old reliable when we get to talk about Alabama's defense, because what is the kryptonite always we talk about with Alabama's defense?
Is it mobile quarterbacks?
It's those mobile, running, dual-threat quarterbacks that just seem to give them fits all the time, and John Mateer is certainly one of those. Oklahoma wants to run the football. They have not been throwing it well lately. Mateer has not thrown it well since he's had the thumb surgery, but he can still run the football. And they still have Xavier Robinson, who was really good last year. Remember last year, Jackson Arnold had 135 rushing yards, excluding sacks, against Alabama, and that was really the key to that victory right there, was the ability for Oklahoma, even with their suspect offensive line, to run all over Alabama. So when you look at Alabama this year, okay, against either read options or design quarterback runs, still kind of the kryptonite here. 77th in run defense grade against either of those two things. 101st in yards per carry allowed, 5.5 yards per carry allowed. 2.6 yards before contact per carry, not fitting things upright. That's a bottom 15 mark in the country, and an almost 20% explosive run rate when there's either a read option on or it's just a design quarterback run. 8th worst in the country, Max. 3 guys I'm looking at that are the key to Alabama's defense in this game. A couple of them that were in last year's game against Oklahoma, all right, that didn't play well. Deontay Lawson, Justin Jefferson, Nakai Hill-Green. The 3 linebackers for this Alabama team, 2 of them, Lawson and Jefferson, didn't play well last year, along with Jahad Campbell. You could argue that was Jahad Campbell's worst game of the year last year in this Oklahoma game. Those linebackers have to fit things up right. And you still see times this year against Lenora Sellers, against Tommy Castellanos, some of these other games where they've seen mobile quarterbacks. It is still a problem. Alabama fitting things up. I'm going to throw the linebackers, and you know what? I'll throw the strong safety Bray Hubbard in there as well. He needs to have a good game in this one. He's been really good lately. Got to be physical, but also have to be disciplined and seeing things in the option game and reading the offensive line. Do not just stare at the mesh point in the backfield, because that's what I see too often from these Alabama linebackers when they get into this kind of trouble. So to me, if Oklahoma's going to win this game, you're going to get John Mateer running the football a good amount. It worked last year. It's continued to work on Alabama's defense. It's still the Achilles heel. Alabama's linebackers specifically, plus maybe Bray Hubbard there at safety, really need to step up and be disciplined in the run game for them to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, Mateer has struggled as a passer lately, but he could absolutely play the same role that Jackson Arnold did for Oklahoma last year against Alabama that led Oklahoma to winning by 21 points over Alabama. I'm looking at Alabama's offense and their offensive line against Oklahoma's pass rush in this one. This is really strength on strength for both programs. Oklahoma's pass rush has been relentless this year. Right now, they're 3rd in the country in pressure rate at 42%, and they're 7th in the country in team pass rush grade this year. R. Mason Thomas, their edge defender, is 3rd in the SEC with a 90.1 pass rush grade, and their 2 D tackles, Grayson Halton and David Stone, they're 1st and 3rd among SEC D tackles this year in pressure. Their front 4 is ferocious on their own, but also Brent Venables blitzes a lot as well, the 4th highest blitz rate in the Power 4 at about 51% this year. Alabama, meanwhile, has done a great job of protecting Ty Simpson, placing 7th in the country with an 82.4 pass blocking grade as a team. And also, Alabama has done a great job with blitz pickups as well, placing 4th in the country with a 78.3 pass blocking grade against blitzes, considering Ty Simpson has a 91.2 passing grade when kept clean and only a 48.8 passing grade when pressured. This matchup between Alabama's offensive line and Oklahoma's defensive line, and also Oklahoma's blitzes in this game, will be absolutely massive in determining who wins or loses.
Agreed. I think it comes down to, similar to last week against LSU, where it comes down to when you get in those obvious pass situations, the blitz packages that Brent Venables is going to try to confuse Ty Simpson with. And other than when he lost a fumble in the 3rd quarter of that game against LSU, outside of that play, thought he really acquitted himself well against Blake Baker, and that's one of the toughest defensive coordinators to go against right now, especially with their secondary. Similar vibe here with Brent Venables. I think he's going to come after him. I don't think he's going to let Ty Simpson sit back there with just a 4-man rush behind this offensive line and pick him apart. So I think that's something to look out for when Alabama's in 3rd and 6 or longer. Venables is going to send pressure just like Blake Baker did last week. And to their credit, for all the offensive struggles they had last week, LSU still only held Alabama to 20 points. That's certainly not a bad day when you're talking about Ty Simpson and Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard and everything that Alabama can do offensively. So I think Venables takes a similar approach, blitzing Ty Simpson when he can. He can't do it every play, but I think anywhere from 3rd and 6 onward, that's going to happen.
Absolutely. So ultimately, Dalton, will Alabama get revenge on Oklahoma from last year and also most likely kick Oklahoma out of the college football playoff race, or will the Sooners get a massive, massive win for their playoff hopes?
Boy, you do wonder just about the mental hurdle of what happened in that game last year, the style of football that Oklahoma plays offensively. I think this is going to be a spot where offensively, though, Alabama's going to look better in this game than they did last year because Jalen Milroe just looked completely out of sorts when he played Brent Venables. I think Simpson's going to be calmer in the pocket. We've seen this throughout the year that he's been able to handle pressure enough, right? There's times when, okay, he won't do the worst thing, and he's still only thrown 1 interception this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that helps too. Alabama's, I believe, only had 6 giveaways all season, the fewest in the country, or second fewest in the country, somewhere in there. It's one of the best marks in the country where they just don't turn the football over. When Oklahoma wins, their defensive line, their pass rush, the blitz packages take the game over. I think Alabama's going to do a good enough job of that. They're going to take some on the chin in the run game still because this is still a legitimate problem. But at the end of the day, throwing the football, one side you've got Ty Simpson, one of the hottest quarterbacks in the country. On the other side, John Mateer has been one of the coldest. I think that makes a difference. If Oklahoma gets into obvious pass, I don't really like their chances with the way this Alabama secondary is playing. I got Alabama 23, Oklahoma 17.
I have it 24-20, Alabama beating Oklahoma in this one. I think the Sooners need their pass rush to dominate in order to make this enough of a low-scoring game to keep John Mateer and what's been kind of a struggling Oklahoma offense this year in this game too, so they could pull off the upset. But I think the Crimson Tide and their what has been an elite offensive line this year in protecting Ty Simpson will do enough against those blitzes and against that pass rush from Oklahoma to win this game and likely kill Oklahoma's chances of making the college football playoffs. I think Alabama will do the same thing to Oklahoma that Oklahoma did to Alabama last year. I've got Alabama winning 24-20.